Okay, everyone. I'll call this meeting to order. I think we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance tonight, if everyone will rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, everyone. We are going to start tonight by recognizing some volunteers. We're going to begin by recognizing the firefighters. So I just have a little something I'd like to read on their behalf just to thank them.
The fireworks.
Oh, fireworks. Oh, geez. There's definitely some firefighters on here. All right, so tonight we are proud to recognize.
I think your ball's off.
Yeah, keep
Grab that.
Thanks. Okay. Tonight we are proud to recognize a very special group of volunteers who for the past 24 years have been behind one of the most beloved traditions in our community, the fireworks display at MCP Day event, now the Concert in the Park. Year after year, this team of dedicated individuals gave countless hours of their time, working closely with Murraysville and the municipality and the Parks and Recreation Department to plan, coordinate, and safely execute the show that our residents look forward to each summer. What makes their service even more remarkable is that they never charged a shooter's fee or asked for compensation from the municipality, instead choosing to give their time, talent, and expertise freely as a gift to the community. Their efforts brought joy to thousands of families, created lasting memories, and helped make Murraysville Community Days and the Concerts in the Park a true celebration of Murraysville. On behalf of the municipality and all who have enjoyed their work, we extend our heartfelt gratitude for their 24 years of dedication, generosity, and volunteer spirit. So we extend a very sincere thank you to Chuck Turner, and I think do we want these individuals to stand up and come up?
I'm going to ask them to come forward.
Okay.
Ask them to come forward now.
Yeah, everyone. It's Chuck Turner, Sue Turner, Bob Knoll, John Adams, Rick O'Mahony, Bill Yant II, Bill Yant III, and Bill Yant IV for their extraordinary service to our community. Maybe if we could all just stand and give them a hand.
We have a token of our appreciation for each one of you who was made. We don't have one of these for Mr. Yant Jr., though. No, he doesn't get one. Thank you very much.
I think you do have enough for everybody. I'm not sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks.
We can share one.
Okay, you're good with that? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Billy.
Thank you, Reach.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There you go. Thank you.
Thanks, Reach.
Thank you. I think, Dan, you may have some comments, further comments regarding Mr. Yant.
I do, Mayor, so I'll say those now. Bill Yant has been a steady and trusted presence in Murraysville for more than 40 years. Bill has stepped forward in 1979 to help create the municipality's emergency management plan. That plan became the backbone of Murraysville's preparedness efforts for the next several decades. Beyond planning and leadership, Bill has never hesitated to roll up his sleeves and do the work himself. He serves with Murraysville Medic 1 for nearly 50 years, his 46-year tenure even predating the organization's name. As a dedicated member of the Murraysville Volunteer Fire Company for over 40 years, he has answered hundreds of calls, often at the most inconvenient hours, always putting the needs of his neighbors first. In addition to his work in public safety, Bill has also given many years of service in our local government. He has served on the Murraysville Planning Commission for an impressive 18 years, helping to guide the growth and development of the community with care and vision, And in the early 1990s, he continued his service as a member of Murraysville Council, where he worked to represent residents and ensure that decisions were made with the best interest of the community at heart. For the past 24 years, he has also given his time and expertise to conduct the fireworks display at the Murraysville Community Days celebration. Now the concert in the park, providing the service free of charge as a gift to our community that he cares so deeply about. His recognition as Murraysville's Volunteer of the Year in 2018 was a reflection not only of his many years of tireless service, but also of the respect and gratitude this community has for him. Bill's legacy is one of selflessness, dedication, and a deep love for Murraysville. On behalf of the entire community, we thank you, Bill, for your decades of volunteerism, your unwavering commitment to service, and the lasting impact you have made on Murraysville. Thank you.
Had a special plaque made for you. Thank you for your many years of service to the municipality of Murraysville. Your unwavering dedication is appreciated more than you know. August of 2025.
Thank you, Reed.
Thank you.
And thank council. I didn't expect this last part, and I want you to understand something.
Oh.
It's this team here
Right.
that did this, you know. I mean, I get it started. I order the fireworks, pick them out, fight with the supplier, so forth. But once we get them, it's all these folks standing here that did it. And I just want to tell you one interesting thing. My first experience with fireworks in Murraysville didn't start at the beginning of this in '98. It started in probably 85 or 86 because there was a gentleman in Murraysville, and I'm sure you know who I'm talking about, Mr. Edward Banks, who used to do this. And in 85 or 86, he did one for the community days in Murraysville at the high school, and he set the roof on fire on the senior high. So that was my first experience. We've had a great run. We've never had a serious accident. We've had a couple of times that things didn't go quite our
as
way,
well.
but we never, and it's because of these people here. You know, my son, my grandson, Rick, Chuck and Sue Turner, Bob Nall, and John Adams, have been part of this group almost since the beginning.
Yep.
And it was our desire, our choice not to be paid so that we could add, that's why Murraysville had a better
Had
show
a
than
better
anybody
fireworks
else did,
display all
because
those years.
We
Yes.
gave them a couple $1,000s worth of
Yes,
fireworks.
extra.
But again,
We appreciate
congratulate
that.
the team.
Thank you all. Yes. Thank you. Why don't we get a picture with everyone?
First, I just want the two of you.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Just listen to me, that's all.
Yeah, just listen to
Turn a
me.
little bit towards the, turn, you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Me, turn.
Yes, there you go.
Okay.
It doesn't look like you're lined up in this shot. Okay. Now you can do whatever you want.
One thing I'd say.
How
you
about
can-
everybody in front of the Murraysville sign with the council behind us?
It's all good. Come on up.
Yeah,
Come on up.
everybody.
I don't want to be in the middle. Get in the middle.
You're going to be in the middle.
Come on back here. You got to be in the middle.
You have to be in the middle. You have to stand up on the table, Georgia.
No, she was about 6'2" when she started coming to these meetings.
Yeah, my back is one.
Worn her out, huh?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks.
Bill, you can make sure you did a good job. Both hands, you have all your fingers.
Oh, wait, Chuck. No, come on. Come on. Hey, show him. It's a joke, Mr. Turner, many years ago, was working on some kind of a piece of machinery, and he lost part of his finger. Anytime anybody ever says anything to us, he says, "No, we got all five." Thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you all.
See ya. He used to give me heck for driving the forklift too fast, and I walked around the building one day, and he's standing there looking at it laying on its side.
Okay. We will now get back to our regular agenda items. We're going to begin tonight with a public hearing on the 26 to 2030 capital improvements plan. So, Mr. Nestico, Ms. Casey.
Yes, so as we do each year in August, we present the capital improvement program for the upcoming 5 years. JC has a new presentation format for us this year. I think it's going to be a little bit more, I don't want to say exciting. We're talking about finances. I know sometimes dealing with the numbers isn't always the most exciting, but I think she put together a really nice presentation that kind of provides a little bit more to the community by way of some visuals and seeing some of the numbers that she runs through every day in her office. So I will turn it over to JC, and she can give us the update for the next 5 years here.
All right. Hi, Mayor and Council and everybody. My name's JC. I'm the Finance Director here, and I am here to present the 2026 to 2030 CIP, which is a tool that we use as we enter into the general fund budgeting time. Pardon me while I... I think so, yeah. I apologize. Okay, so...
Yep, you're good.
Okay, so the capital improvement plan is a roadmap for how we look at our investments and manage the large investments. It's ensuring that we make sound decisions, not by project, but by following a long-term strategic plan. And this gives us a way to look ahead, anticipate our needs, and align the projects with the available resources that we have at hand. The CIP is a 5-year planning tool, and it includes anything that is over $10,000 with a useful life of 5 years or more. It's updated annually and adapts to any changes that are needed, any costs or funding availability. This process ensures a responsible governance. We're balancing the community's priorities with financial stability or sustainability. Okay. So the CIP matters because it's an asset protection, so it preserves and enhances our municipal investments through proactive management. It minimizes emergency repairs. It benefits the community by improving safety, accessibility, and quality of life, and it helps create predictable planning that stabilizes the tax and services that we deliver. So we organize our CIP we break it down into 3 different categories, which include the street and infrastructure, parks and equipment, equipment and facilities, and parks and other projects. And we do this because it clearly shows where the money is going, it improves transparency, and it helps decision makers balance the priorities. The upcoming 2026 to 2030 CIP is estimated to cost about $23.7 million. So the next 3 slides that I'm going to go over go through the 3 different categories that we have. The first one is the street and infrastructure, which is estimating about $17 million. Some of the key programs that we have here are $8 million over the 5 years are going to be invested into the comprehensive overlay program. Additionally, we have other road projects that take place that includes crack seal and road surface treatment, as well as stabilization projects for the roads and reclamation projects, which goes under the road and it restabilizes some of the older roads that haven't gone through the major building processes. Additionally, we have about $1.1 million earmarked for annual bridge repairs and maintenance, as well as 2 major bridge projects, which include the Logan's Ferry Heather Highlands Bridge, as well as the Calcan Bridge. Additionally, we have MS4 storm sewer and detention pond projects estimated to cost about $1.1 million, and Route 22 corridor projects amounting to about $577,000. And if you would like to turn to page 5 of your CIP books, this will be the normal overview that you see in the spreadsheet format, which lay out the 3 different categories side by side instead of looking at one individually. The next category for the 5-year plan is the equipment and facility investments. There's about $5.3 million dedicated to vehicles, fleet upgrades, and facilities. These investments make sure that staff has the tools to provide essential services. We have 5 10-ton dump trucks planned, a cat wheel loader, 2 1-ton dump trucks, a bucket truck, a cat backhoe, 2 Ford F-250s, 5 0-turn mowers for the parks, a half-ton pickup truck, a 20-ton tag trailer, a 14,000-pound trailer. Additionally, this plan is also proposing a possible facility upgrade for the Public Works Department, which is outgrowing the current facility with all of the equipment and support staff that they have. We also have 13 police vehicles scheduled in this 5-year period, in addition to 5 in-vehicle cameras. What was new for this, one of the things that was new for this is a police crash data recorder, which is estimated to cost about $10,000, and that is planned for next year. Additionally, we also have the admin building parking lot resurfacing project. That's a 3-year project that is starting this year. It's a little bit delayed. It was kind of planned from last year and it was crewed this year. But we have the outside of the library, the parking lot, handicap ramp, and then they will be starting on the front parking lot. And then the 3rd year will be going over to the police department side of the parking lot to fix all the cracks and divots and the 3rd category that we plan for is the parks and recreation investments. The total amount proposed is $760,000 over the 5-year plan. This is outside of the general fund contributions, which are estimated to be about $205,000 for the annual maintenance that the general fund puts towards the parks. Projects include playground modernizations, pavilion rehabs, park improvements. These investments support the quality of life, recreation, and community engagement. It is smaller than the infrastructure and the equipment, but it's still an important overall livability thing that we plan for. So this slide is an overview of the expenses and the supporting revenues to support those expenses. In the top left-hand side, it's a annual breakdown of street and infrastructure, equipment and facilities, and then parks. This kind of shows where the majority of our annual funds go to, and it shows the spike that you see in the 2nd and 3rd year are surrounding the major bridge projects, which is why they increase. The pie chart to the right-hand side shows an accumulation of the 5 years' expenses, which shows about 75% of the funding goes to the street and infrastructure and the bridge projects that we have slated for the next 5 years. In the bottom, you'll see 6 different line graphs. These show how we fund them and what portion is funded by what category. About 23% of the funding comes from our capital millage that's earmarked to going to the capital reserve. Additionally, about 24% of the funding comes from either transfers coming from the general fund or reserves that we have stowed away for the projects, knowing that they're coming up in the future. Additionally, we use liquid fuels annually to support the road projects, which accounts for about 17% of the funding. Our real estate transfer tax we have going to the capital reserve, which covers about 17% of the funding, and the TIP grants that we're hoping to get come through will support the 2 bridge projects, the Logan's Ferry, Heather Highland, as well as the Calcan Bridge, and that'll take up about 14%. Other covers a couple different categories like grants, fees, or interest income. So now we're going to look at the 2026 isolated projects that we have slated for next year. These list the specific projects that are ready to move forward in '26. It reinforces that while this shows the first year, the CIP also looks ahead to make sure that we're preparing for the future beyond next year. So next year, the planned projects include $1.5 million investment to the priority streets in the overlay program, road improvements, which are outside that overlay, which include the road surface treatments, and the crack sealing is about $280. We have traffic management up the Route 22 corridor, which would update the adaptive traffic light system and the processors that, this is the third year of updating the processors. So this will be the last and final year to get all the processors updated. Additionally, we have $200,000 earmarked for repairs for the bridges. Every year, PennDOT comes in and does a full inspection and gives us a hit list of things that need to be updated or taken care of with these bridges. So this $200,000 goes to support those annual maintenance. MS4 and storm sewer, these are to keep up on the regulations that we have that are passed down through the state that we're required to keep up with the stormwater and drainage. Fleet and equipment that is earmarked for next year is 3 police vehicles, 1 CAT backhoe, 1 10-ton dump truck, 2 1-ton dump trucks, 1 half-ton pickup truck, and 1 14,000-pound trailer. Total municipal fleet equipment that we're looking to replace is about $1.6 million. And then we also have the police crash data, which will be purchased next year with the approvals, and that's about $10,000. Additionally, the park that we have slated for next year's renovation, and this goes off of the park plan that we have, is Heritage Park. The plan for $140,000 would be to replace the playground equipment at Heritage Park, install new safety surface, replace the pavilion roof, and various other miscellaneous repairs around that park. Building projects that we have coming up for next year, I already kind of touched on, and that has to deal with the resurfacing of the parking lot at the administration building. We have community center interior upgrades, so the flooring will get replaced, painted, the HVAC is going to get moved around, and then we have the Bailey House roof, which is a property that we own. The roof needs to be replaced, so we have about $20,000 earmarked there, and the remaining funds for facility maintenance of $30,000 are for items that will just need to be addressed throughout the year. There's typically 1 or 2 things that pop up that we have to kind of take care of. So we have that kind of set aside. And then the sidewalks, door security system is also going to be something. There's 3 different doors that are going to get more secure latches so we can come in without keys at alternative entries other than the front. And the Public Works building expansion, we're going to have a study taking place to see if there is a feasibility or what the cost would actually be surrounding an expansion for that building. We have a balanced funding approach. So as I kind of touched on before, we have a couple different ways that we diversify the funding to maintain fiscal responsibility while meeting these infrastructure needs. So the capital millage that we dedicate, which involves the real estate millage and the real estate transfer tax. We have state and federal grants, which are grants that we individually apply for, as well as state funding through the liquid fuels. The liquid fuels is below. And then we have targeted reserves. So the reserves that we have as we move forward with bigger projects or funding needs, we're able to use targeted reserves to be able to support the projects as they come through. And that is a high overview of the projects. We continue to try to be strategic, responsible, and sustainable in our planning. At this point, I will welcome any questions that anybody might have.
Just one question, J.C., referring to pages 4 and 5 of the CIP. On page 4, it indicates total available funds, or no, let me look, what does it say? Total available for current projects, 22,708,500. And on the following page, it's $1 million more at 23,708,500.
Okay, so the difference between these two numbers, so the first page is the actual projects that are taking place, they're physical projects. When you look into the 5-year overview plan, that bottom number of the 23,708 also includes reserves being, a reallocation of funding from the general fund. So anything that we're adding to the reserves, so at the end of the year, if the general fund is able to support most of the time it's like a $200,000 buffer I try to give. If we have that 200,000 transfers over and it meets adding to the reserve. So the difference that you see between here and that number over there is are additions to the reserve. So
Okay.
that does, yeah. So if you would go through and highlight any of these lines, like bridge reserve, addition to reserve, if you'd highlight them all, that should total out to be the difference between those two numbers.
Okay.
JC, I do have a question. How does the 22.7 compare to the last 5-year plan? Is it more or less? What?
It is more. Yeah, it was actually about a 7% increase from the 5-year plan last year to the plan this year. There were a couple different things that were added, one of them being a little over a $520,000 for the Public Works facility. I earmarked about $250,000 for the year following the study and then the year after that, just trying to get that project in the books. And then that'll be adjusted once we see that feasibility. And on top of that, there's annual increases every time they see the costs behind the vehicles. And so every year we'll evaluate, okay, this is what we think the vehicle cost is going to be. And when we actually order the chassis or the body or these different vehicles, we see the realistic cost to what it is. And then when we approach the new 5-year plan, we reflect those changes in the cost going forward. And then we typically would have do like maybe a 2.5% to a 3% increase over annually. So that kind of covers the new projects, the changes in what we see the expenses will be. And that's probably about that. In addition to the change in the increase of expenses, last year when I approached the 5-year plan, it was assumed that I would be able to shift over a little bit more millage than what I'm currently doing. So the reserves last year were earmarked to be less that we're utilizing versus what we're going to be utilizing in this plan. And that's primarily because, what was that, 3.95, I think was the original proposal last year, and it went down to 3.2. And so I kept this plan at the 3.2 level for real estate tax moving through. So there were a couple different differences in that 5-year plan from last year to this year.
So if the tax comes in higher, the real estate tax, that just goes to reserves, I assume?
If we end up receiving more revenue in than what is anticipated, a lot of times there's some fluctuation in costs. I think we typically, if there's an overage, it can be up to a 10% variance in cost before an amendment is needed. And then we'll put things into reserve, and then as I move for the future projects, if we have additional funding, then I'm able to lean on those reserves for funding levels if needed.
JC, first of all, thank you for the presentation part. I know a lot of times looking at balance sheets is hard to decipher. Fantastic job doing that. Please, thank you very much for your extra work doing that. I just had one question on I've had a lot of questions in the community around the traffic light synchronization project and whatnot. What does PennDOT fund some of that, or we fund it all? Like we're from, I guess, Shore Keys to Wendy's, right? And every light in between would be ours.
You want me to? Okay.
How does that work?
So currently we're using a certain system that was implemented years ago, and we've struggled with getting the synchronization in order. And what was the system called?
the adaptive system?
Yeah, we're going to be updating it. So we are currently using a platform known as Rhythm. And Rhythm's had some issues, and there's not a lot of people that can work on it. So even getting the turnaround time to fix the errors or issues that are coming up, we're noticing there's a lag. Or if parts need replaced, they're not readily available. So we're waiting and we're waiting. And I think that the adapted system, people are kind of moving away from the Rhythm system. So there's some grant funding that's available. PennDOT really doesn't take care of it, but there is state level grants. So as part of the plan, we have about $200,000 to update this adaptive system to MyoVision, which is an upcoming and apparently a very nice platform to use. So hopefully this will help address any of those issues that we have. The system apparently works very well, and it updates much better than, much better than the Rhythm system.
We did apply for a grant already.
Yeah.
We're hoping that will be funded. PennDOT does provide a couple of different funding mechanisms through grant opportunities. There are the Green Light Go grants, and there's some others as well. So we did apply for funding. We're hopeful, and we understand that those type of grants are favored by PennDOT. PennDOT itself doesn't control the system. It's our system.
Right.
But they have recommended moving away from the Rhythm system, as JC had indicated. So I think that they look at it pretty favorably when you do want to upgrade. We're looking at the same system that Monroeville currently has or just recently implemented. And we do think that if we can upgrade, which we believe that we'll have some success in potentially getting a grant, that can work to improve that corridor, because there have been some issues. The residents have been calling for various locations where we are running into some difficulties that we simply can't get the system to function the way that it used to.
Right.
So,
Does you kind of led into it with, I just noticed because this morning I had an early appointment and I went through Monroeville, and it seemed like theirs were a little bit out of sync as well. And I mean, it was backed up. It took me 30 minutes getting Monroeville. Our system then is different. PennDOT does not make them like all those be the same type of system where they communicate. 'Cause you go through the red light at Wendy's and the next one
It was originally
starts.
put in from Route 48 out to Walmart. It was all one system.
Yeah.
But of course, Monroeville controlled theirs and serviced theirs, and we had a company do ours.
Right.
But the biggest problem we've had, in addition to the system, is we've had vehicles striking traffic control boxes. When that happens, until they get the parts in, it goes on the old, like, 1950s timing cycle instead of automated, when it sees the cars and all that, until they get the parts, which, because of this older system now, it's upwards of 6 months.
Yeah,
And
okay.
it makes everyone angry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So once we get it in sync and get ours done, that flows less,
Yeah.
and you see that. Okay, thank you.
And I was told by our engineer that the grant that we're going for, we would have to provide a 30% match to this, so it would be about $60,000 cost to the municipality, and the rest would be covered by the grant.
Is there a timing to hear back on that grant?
I forget when it's awarded. I think it's sometime at the tail end of the year. And if it's not awarded this year, and again, that's part of what JC has built out in the CIP, there's funding there not only to cover the match associated with the grant, but also to conduct the repairs, as the mayor just mentioned, in the meantime, so that we still have a functioning system. So if we are not awarded a grant in this cycle, we'll apply again next year. But the goal will try to be to obtain as much funding as we can before fully committing to the project on our own municipal funds. So right now, the budget that JC had mentioned kind of contemplates both scenarios, a grant match and also continued repairs until we are successful in getting a grant.
We could probably almost think, PennDOT, the increase in costs are, since the turnpike fees have gone up so much, I bet you our truck traffic is quadrupled through, so the importance of the synchronization, I think, is going to be huge for.
Will that tie into Monroeville's synchronization as well, or how does that work?
So the systems can function together, but they are run independently. So we would have to coordinate with. Them, and that would be the goal, if possible. We both run up until Monroeville upgraded, we were running the same system, but as most folks know, there was just a lot of difficulty in Monroeville with some aspects of their system. Certainly, it's not for us to comment on. But, I think we recognize the difference coming through our municipality versus some of the way their system functioned. I don't know what to attribute that to, but the goal would try to be to align everything. But again, it's a pretty long corridor, so something that's synchronized from start to finish may be difficult, but we'll try everything we can, that's for sure.
Oh, great. Thank you very much.
Okay, awesome. Any other questions or concerns from council? All right, hearing none. Thanks so much, JC. That was amazing. It was, entertaining.
Very much. Thank you.
Thank you. I was hoping that this might come across a little bit easier to follow than how we've approached it before.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to see the numbers in prior years.
Thank you for the
It's
thought.
excited me for capital improvement.
Okay, well, thank you.
Okay. With that, I believe we will now get to our regular voting meeting agenda. We have already done a Pledge of Allegiance, so I would ask for a roll call, please.
Mr. Dice,
Here.
Mr. Olszewski,
Here.
Mrs. Ling, Mr. McKenna,
Here.
Mr. Stepanovich,
Here.
Mr. Lemak,
Here.
Mr. Diakopoulos,
Here.
Mayor Sinan.
Here.
All right, thank you, everyone. That brings us to the consent calendar items. Any questions or concerns about the consent calendar items? Excuse me, Michael, I did skip unlisted amendments. Are there any unlisted amendments? All right, that's what I thought. Sorry. Consent calendar items, questions or concerns? Hearing none, can I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve the approved consent calendar items.
Second.
Thank you, Carl and Matt. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, consent calendar items are approved. It's unanimous. That brings us to comments by Mayor Sinan.
Thanks, Mr. Dice. Oh, here we go. First of all, our thoughts and prayers go out to the residents of Clairton, their steelworkers and their families from the incident there on 8/11. We're hoping that the people who were injured are recovering soon and the community begins to recover also. Secondly, we still have our Murraysville Farmers Markets going until September 25th, live music, food trucks, local vendors and more. This is again down there at the Medic One Fireman's Field, Thursdays 3 to 7 p.m. Lastly, we have the American Red Cross Blood Drive coming up on Thursday, September 11th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Murraysville Community Center. We're partnering with the Red Cross to host the blood drive. To register, please go to redcrossblood.org to register in advance. Please do that so that they can time you so people weren't standing in line all day to give blood. Thank you very much. Concludes my report.
Thank you, Mayor. That brings us to comments by the Chief Administrator, Mr. Nestico.
Yes, just a few for this evening. First, I believe, I hope that I'm not breaking the news, but I believe the police have announced they are going to do a Community Connection Day, as they're calling it, which is going to be the replacement for the night out that we had to cancel due to the event there a couple weeks ago. So the Community Connection Day is going to take place on Saturday, September 13th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Sloan School. I don't have all the details here in front of me, but they have quite a few community groups that they will be working with. Of course, most of the folks that attend the night out, including the local emergency responders, fire companies, the SWAT team, and all of the folks that traditionally attend that event, but they're also working in conjunction with the school and the PTO to kind of build out that event and make it a kind of a community event as well, more than just a recognition of the municipal and emergency services. So there is more to come on that, but we're fortunate that the police department has kind of picked up the ball and run with it to make up for the night that was missed. So that will be again on Saturday, September 13th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. I'm sure that there's much more information available on the police department's Facebook page or website, and if that is not published quite yet, it will be being published soon. So be on the lookout for that information. Additionally, the Public Works Department is conducting work on the Fike Bunkway the Funk Bikeway, I apologize. That bikeway was damaged during the recent storm events that we had over the course of the summer. They've been working to try to get out there and conduct those repairs. So they have been doing that, and they're working to get the bikeway back on track and operational. Additionally, in that area, they are wrapping up some of the work at the Duff Park restroom. I think I mentioned this at the last meeting as well, but they're finalizing their portion of the project, and then they'll have the plumber and the electrician come in to finalize that work, and they're hoping to have the restroom up and running rather soon, and then they'll be conducting paving at the parking lot there, and they expect that to be completed by sometime in October. So that project will be kind of wrapping itself up in completion sometime in October, and we look forward to everything being in order there at the Duff Park area. Lastly, I should say second to last, the paving project was completed last week. Quite a big project, as you saw in the CIP presentation just a little while ago. Quite a bit of money is invested into the overlay program each year, over $1 million that goes into our roads. There were probably 30 roads that were paved throughout the community. Public Works and the engineering department go out and conduct a survey on the roads each year, trying to stay on schedule with consistent repairs and improvements to the roads, and they do a prioritization. So that project was just wrapped up last week as well. And then finally, recent breaking news, this would otherwise be something the mayor would report on, but the MRM rates, we received an email just today that the rates are going to decrease for our workers' comp somewhere in the range of 4.5%, and that is the MRM self-insured trust that we are members of. The mayor is on the board there as well, so we're very appreciative of that. Those new rates should come out for next year, I think sometime around October. So the MRM trust continues to be a benefit to the municipality as we remain part of that self-insured pool. So that is all for the manager's report for this evening.
That's awesome, and thanks. That's great news about MRM. They do a great job for us. It's just, they're always coming through. So that brings us to community input this evening. Thank you for that. Okay, we have several speakers this evening, so we'll be sticking with the 3-minute timeline. And with that being said, Dennis Pavlik, and if you would just state your name and address for the meeting.
Yes,
Thank you, sir.
Dennis Pavlik, 229 North Duane Drive, Pittsburgh 15239, which is in Murraysville. In the next few weeks, you're going to be asked to approve the Summerhill Phase 2 plan of lots. That property abuts my property, and based on Planning Commission and the municipality, FTMSA, they're wanting this plan to utilize a right-of-way, a sewer line right-of-way that goes down our private road, North Duane Drive. Right now, we have sewers on that. People have sewers, they're sewered, okay, and the developer was, the agreement from planning was that the developer reach an agreement with the people on North Duane Drive as to certain issues that we had raised. He has agreed to those. I've sent you each an email that has my letter here of introduction. It also has the supporting documentation. Now, the developer has given us a list of things in writing, but he has not, there's no signature. So, it, you know how much value that has in holding someone to their fire. So what we're asking is that since the municipality and local government has total control over this right-of-way, that they actually enforce the agreement that the developer has agreed to. I have some other clarifications in my letter here that we've asked to have clarified, and to be more precise as far as getting in and out, egress, and that you treat this as if this were a municipal road in Murraysville. You would have all your requirements. So the developer has agreed to things. Planning has recommended that he get to an agreement with us, and we're just asking if they put into the actual official plan before it gets approved. Or it's the guy's got to have drawings to show how he's going up and down the road and what he's going to do. So we're just saying make those official drawings so that they're enforceable by the municipality and the inspectors. And that's the bottom line of kind of what we're looking for. There's more details. I gave you enough details to choke a horse, but I have a vested interest in getting up and down that road. It's a dead-end road, it's one lane, and I got Medic 1 on the speed dial. So, I'm always very interested in making sure that they can get to me, which they have in numerous occasions in very timely fashion, thank goodness. So, at any rate, that's pretty much it.
Thank you, Mr.
I sent all of you an email that has the details
Yeah.
to your company. I'm not sure if you got it or not. I did a cut and paste from the email addresses, and that doesn't always work out so well.
No, we absolutely got it, sir, and your concerns will be noted when we're doing the conditional use hearing.
Right.
All right, thank you, sir. That brings us to Mr. Bruce Kaufman.
Hello.
Hi.
I was here a month ago. I'm Bruce Kaufman, 5570 Old William Penn, 50-year resident of the municipality. And it's concerning I'm just checking in to see if there's been any progress with communicating with state or federal resources for cleaning the streams.
Yes, so we did have our final, well, I don't want to say final, but we did have a call with Representative Cooper, officials from the DEP, and they gave us some direction as to the next steps. At the conclusion of that call, it was determined that the municipality would need to conduct a feasibility study if they want to explore a flood control project, which I think is probably something that we may want to consider doing. That would be a long-term project, and the process would play out over the next several years as far as identifying or analyzing the area and identifying a project and what the needs may be for that project. So the DEP kind of left us with that. The ball is in the municipality's court as far as trying to kick off a project like that. So that's something that will be discussed rather soon. As far as cleanup efforts in the creek itself in the short term, as mentioned at the last meeting, there's quite a bit that goes into that, not only having the funding available and the resources to conduct the cleanup, but also property owner approval as well. So that's going to be a little bit more difficult of a project for us because ultimately we have quite a few creeks in the community that could stand to be cleaned up as well. We'd have to get property owner approval to do any sort of work in the creek, and that would have to be anything above the water line. Anything below that would require DEP approval. But even to clean out above ground brush and debris or overgrowth.
Which is what I had sent you previously.
Correct. So that's kind of where we are. We don't have a project planned as far as our public works conducting any sort of creek cleanup. It's not something historically that we have done here in Murraysville. So any efforts to do that are going to require, kind of going outside of the, thinking outside of the box a little bit and trying to figure out what we can do. The conservation district, who kind of oversees some of the work down at the bike trail, has indicated that we can potentially utilize their property to conduct cleanup efforts if need be. So that's something we may look into as well. But again, that's only one segment of that creek. And some of the areas that you pointed out that were of concern are all on private property. It's not accessible by the trail.
Quick question. Does the municipality get in touch with the owners of of the property?
That would be the process, yes. We would have to, we'd have to secure the funding, be able to conduct a project like that, but we'd also have to obtain property owner approval. So there are quite a few aspects to that, and again, that's not something the municipality has historically done in the past. So any effort to do that would be a little bit unique.
We're looking for unique.
Sure.
All righty. Well, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. And you know what, we'll discuss, perhaps we can look into a feasibility study, but that's to be determined, so we'll look into it.
Yeah, I think that's something that we recognize that could be warranted, especially coming off the heels of the last flood control project that took place in Export. But again, without having a study conducted, kind of don't know which direction to turn. So that would be the first step in that process. And again, in talking with the DEP and Representative Cooper's office, it sounds like it would be a multi-year project. When we ended the call, the next steps were kind of for the municipality to consider that. That's something that I'll have to discuss with council sometime in the future, hopefully the near future. But to put a project together like that, the DEP's sentiments were kind of, we could probably touch base again down the road, but there's not going to be any immediate results coming from that. It's quite a large process to go through.
Well, we can at least look into maybe getting it started at some point.
Sure.
To be determined, Mr. We do. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kaufman. That brings us to Gwen Shepherd, please.
Good evening. You still hear me with this way up?
You can pull it down.
Okay, there we go.
There you
we go. Okay. I'm Gwen Shepherd, lived at 4832 Treesdale Court. I've lived there for over 25 years. I've been living in Murraysville for over 40 years. Okay, I see a change to the Murray Crest subdivision through the Hay Lane subdivision that is on the agenda for discussion this evening. So in doing so, I'm asking council to also review the Murray Crest subdivision deed in regards to my property. The Murray Crest minor subdivision abuts my private property, and I've come to find out that that deed makes references that imply the Murray Crest subdivision has rights to use my private property. However, no property rights were ever planned to be granted to the Murray Crest subdivision. To be clear, we are not and have never been affiliated with the Murray Crest subdivision, and they have no rights to use my property. The references to my property that are currently shown on the Murray Crest subdivision deed are untrue, unbinding, and were deeded without my consent or knowledge. Only my deed can legally run my property. I'm requesting council to remove all information pertaining to my property from the Murray Crest subdivision deed. Murraysville Planning Commission and Murraysville Council approved the deed with the erroneous information and now need to revise that deed with truth. Murraysville Council, commissions, and Community Development Director are required to acknowledge and respect my property deed while enforcing compliance to all statutes. Please remove all references to my property from the Murray Crest subdivision deed and enforce actions to support my deeded privacy and thereby eliminate trespassing activities that are resulting from the erroneous deed. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Shepherd. This is a legal issue, so we'll have to talk to our solicitor and kind of see what's going on. This is the first I've heard of this. But,
Well, no, we have been over here since 2020 with issues.
the first I'm hearing about the deed. I absolutely know you and your husband.
Yeah, we didn't know about it until a few years into this.
Absolutely. So again,
It was
dealing with
without
a
my
deed-
knowledge.
Absolutely. Dealing with a deed, something we'll have to talk to our solicitor about, get a copy of the deed and see what happens. So I don't think any of us should make any comment about this right now, but we will look into it. So thank you.
But please be aware that as you go forward, approving changes to the Murray Crest plan.
Okay. Thank you. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. No one else has signed up this evening. Would anyone else like to give public comment? Seeing no takers at this time, we will move on with our agenda. Thank you, everyone. That brings us to liaison comments and committee reports. Let's start on this end. Jason?
The library meets on Thursday.
Wonderful. Thank you.
The last meeting, you met the new youth library director, so I think she's a good addition.
Absolutely. Thank you. Carl?
Yes, Medic One met. There is going to be a major feature on Medic One in the Penn Franklin forthcoming. Also, at the last meeting, there was an agreement on the increase of $300 per month. It's a 2-year agreement for their computing services, and that was agreed to. And the Rotary has applied for a grant of $9,000 for new mannequins and AED training equipment. So that was concluding on Medic 1. The next meeting is actually this coming Thursday. The Murraysville Parks and Recreation Foundation, their meeting is going to be this coming Monday at 9 o'clock.
Okay.
And that's it.
Wonderful. Thank you, Carl. Matt?
Yeah, the Parks and Recreation, the August meeting was actually canceled due to the Parks and Recreation Department was extremely busy with different activities and whatnot, and some people out of town, so they moved it. The next meeting will be September 9th, but today's the last day, the last concert in the park at Townsend, or the Townsend Concert in the Park. They've been super successful. I've been to a few of them. Great turnout from the community. We've gotten fairly lucky with weather on them, so tonight's a beautiful night, so should be a good one again. So just thank you to them for all the work doing that.
No, absolutely.
The community seems to really like it.
I echo that. I went to a couple as well. I was trying to get out of here before 8, but finish up. There's a good band playing tonight. On that, EAC met at the end of July. They had someone from the public attend, and he worked closely with PIA in the parks group. He was questioning funding around the herbicides and other volunteer work PIA's been doing in the parks and how to receive additional funding. Another topic of discussion was the CSE building expansion, questions regarding the required landscape screening. It was anticipated that because no additional parking was being created and the main building was built prior to the current requirements, that no additional parking landscaping may be required. Members asked if the fire department has been involved with the review, given the nature of the materials stored in the addition. The plans have been forwarded to the White Valley for review. And then MAWC water tank came up as a topic, and questions why the stormwater from the existing tank does not go into the new pond, and if any landscaping was required.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Eli?
Yeah, the pension committee met for its quarterly meeting last week. It was actually a pretty lengthy meeting, partly because there was an actuarial report that was delivered, and that obviously reviews the status of the pension funds, both for the uniform and non-uniform sides. And without getting into the mud of how that actually is reported, the bottom line is it looks for ensuring that it meets the PA standards in terms of Act 205, and they look at 100% being sort of adequately funded. Pleased to say that both funds are within the margin of error around that 100%, so that's good news. Likewise, the performance through end of June was 7%, offset by the first quarter of negative, as we all know, but overall quarter to date or year to date, around 5.5% return. So good stuff.
Oh, yeah, awesome. Thank you. FDMSA meets this Thursday at 6 p.m. So with that, we will get into our workshop items this evening. We'll begin with community development and a discussion for S925, the Hay subdivision, a minor subdivision application of 9.64 acres into two separate parcels, tax parcel 4911000153R1. Mr. Nestico?
Sure, and I think that these items were listed for discussion, but they appear below as action items as well. Okay. I don't think there is too much discussion to go into either item, but I can certainly give a rundown as we move forward into the action items. Okay. I will say that as it relates to the Hay subdivision, it may be prudent to conduct a vote on 14B before 14A, okay, simply because the approval of the subdivision should probably take first before we would amend the 537 plan, as you can see on the action items. However, it is a pretty straightforward item. It's a minor subdivision of a 9.64 acre parcel into two separate parcels. This is the property that the previous resident was referring to. This has been reviewed by an outside third party. The applicant is here, Mr. Kearns, who is on the Planning Commission. So due to that relationship, we outsourced the review for this subdivision to Gibson Thomas Engineering. It came back, as you would expect on a minor subdivision. Everything lined up rather well. It's a pretty straightforward subdivision. It does not impact the properties or the property owner that previously spoke. While I understand that they made that assertion, the municipality does not believe that it does have an impact. There's no ingress or egress through their property or their private drive to this subdivision. The two parcels that would come out of this subdivision both have separate access to existing municipal roads. So again, the applicant is here if there's any further questions from council, but this is a pretty straightforward subdivision, but due to the contentious nature kind of surrounding the background of this, we wanted to be sure that we put it up for discussion, just in case there were any questions from council for the applicant or regarding the project.
Yeah, council, questions or concerns? Okay, hearing none, or do you have a, sorry. All right, hearing none about 14A, or excuse me, 14B, we'll move on to a discussion of SP 2-25, the vertical bridge Verizon cell tower. Mr. Nestico, do you want to just give us a brief rundown? That way we can just vote on it.
Sure, yes, and this one's rather straightforward as well. Again, they probably could have been listed just as action items without the discussion, but this cell tower came in for conditional use approval that was already received by the municipality. There's no need for an NPDES permit. It's under 1 acre of development, and so everything that was recommended by planning and recommended by council was addressed by the applicant, and so there aren't any outstanding questions or concerns, and Verizon is excited to get the project underway if approved by council, so not much to add onto this item as well either.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. Council, any questions or concerns? All right, hearing none, we'll get straight into our action items. Can I have a motion for 14B, please?
I'd like to make a motion to approve S-9-25 Hayes subdivision, a minor subdivision application of 9.64 acres into two separate parcels, tax parcel 49-11-00-0-153, R1 zoning.
Thank you, Jason and Eli. Any final questions or concerns before we vote?
Just a question, the lady that was there, Ms. Shepherd, is this separate from that? Meaning she rose an issue, if you will, and I know the Planning Commission has approved this, and that's a step in the right direction. But is there some?
Yes, the very simple way to describe it is this is a subdivision of a parcel that is behind her property. There are several other parcels behind her property that were part of the subdivision she mentioned, the Murray Crest subdivision. I believe, and I don't want to be mistaken, but I believe this property used to be part of that, but this is creating a new subdivision with two separate lots that are both accessible by other municipal roads that do not bring into account the private drive that Ms. Shepherd is concerned about. That was the concern that they brought forth to both planning, and they've mentioned in the past here in front of council as it relates to stormwater and other issues on that private drive. But this is an entirely separate parcel. If council would like, I could certainly pull up the overhead map to show you where it's located. In fact, I may have that right here in front of me. But it is a separate parcel, and I would suggest it's separate from the concerns that she presented here today as well.
If you do have it, I'd like to see it.
Yeah, I can do
I'm not
that.
sure where it's
I'm
located.
happy to pull that up right now. Bear with me here. I'm also going to pull up the overhead on the GIS because the subdivision itself doesn't actually show where her parcel is located because it's some distance away from this subdivision, but I can pull that up pretty quickly. And as I'm doing that, I'll pull up this, the layout here of this particular subdivision, just to get a feel for the property that we're talking about. And then I'll pull up the tax map. So there you go. This is the particular subdivision we're looking at. This parcel here, as it comes in, kind of goes up around, is one segment of the subdivision. The other parcel is down here where you can see the cursor, and it goes downward this direction. So it's hard to tell from this layout, but I'll pull it up on the GIS so you can get a better feel for it. And Ms. Shepherd, her property is located somewhere probably up in this direction here where the cursor is, which is outside of the view of this subdivision, probably at least one parcel away. And I'll pull that up now just so that you can kind of have a little bit of an idea of what we're looking at here. So as I drag this over, this is the property I'll highlight here that's being subdivided. So you can see this pop-up box doesn't help matters, but bear with me here. Can't get it in a good spot. Every time I click, it's going to do that. So this property here, it shows the little blue lines, and it comes all the way out here to Windover Road. This is the parcel that's being subdivided. It's being subdivided directly across this line here, which would create this lower parcel, and it's going to create this upper parcel. Those will be the two separate ones. Miss Shepherd's property is located, I apologize, right over here. So it's one lot away from there. There is this property in between. So it doesn't really bring into account her property, if that kind of helps. Sorry about the visuals there using the cursor.
Thank you. Absolutely.
That's good.
And with that up, Mike, the access that she was questioning to that Treesdale Court, that has nothing to do, like these properties are going to be accessed by Hay Lane and Windover Road, correct?
That's correct, yeah. These properties, this lower portion would be accessed from Windover, and then this remaining portion would be accessed from Hay Lane. Their property, Miss Shepherd's property, is actually accessed from Treesdale Court, which is over here, and it's a totally separate ingress and egress than this subdivision. So, and this kind of gives you a little bit of the visual. This is their property here. And again, the current property that we're talking about is located here.
Okay.
I apologize. Every time I click to show the outline, that box is going to always kind of frame over top.
Yep.
I'm
Satisfies
happy to
my
answer any other
inquiry.
questions.
That satisfies me.
Sure.
Okay. Any final questions or concerns from anyone? Okay. Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. 14B is unanimous. Can I have a motion for 14A, please?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 802-25, a resolution amending the Municipality of Murraysville Act 537 plan for new development, Hay Lane subdivision, S-9-25, Hay Lane, tax parcel 49-11-00-0-153.
Second.
Let's go Mac and Matt. Council, any final questions or concerns before we vote on the Act 537 plan amendment? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, 14A is unanimous. Thank you. That brings us to 14C. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve the SP-2-25 Vertical Bridge Cell Tower, a major preliminary and final land development application with approximately 0.8 acres disturbed on tax parcel 49-07-00-263 and 49-07-00-020, located at 4900 Lasher Court, RR zoning.
I second that.
Okay, thank you, Carl and Eli. Any questions or concerns before we vote on the Verizon? Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, 14C is unanimous. Thank you, everyone. Any old or new business from anyone this evening? Okay, no executive session, no action items. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
A motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Eli and Matt. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you, everyone.